yourself. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Grant Cameron. Welcome to everybody who's joining on Facebook for this live interview. We got lucky. I have been everybody's been following the postings dealing with the Schumer amendment coming out of the Congress, which will set up a 9-person panel that will unravel the whole UFO cover up that's been going on for decades. And during that event, a guy by the name of David Grush, for people who aren't following, was on the Rogan show. And he's the sort of the main whistleblower, talked to 40 people when he was on the board. They told him what's going on. They got crafts, they got this, they got that, basically confirming everything that people have been saying for years. And then he pointed out that there are two main people who are trying to block this effort. One of the and now we know there's four of them, but the two that he mentioned are Mike Rogers, who is in the Alabama Republican head of the Armed Services House Armed Services Committee, and the other one that he mentioned is Mike Turner, who's the House Intelligence Chairman. And a lot of people started twittering and sending messages. And if you've seen some of the postings on Twitter, some of these, the one article that talked about Turner had almost 1 million people read it. This has kind of gone viral on Twitter. There's hundreds of thousands of people watching this. And today I have somebody who's not just sending emails to these congressmen and senators or putting Twitter posts up. I have Mike Harbough, who is actually getting off his rear end, and he's actually going to run. He's going to run in the 10th district of Ohio against the head of the cabal, Mike Turner, probably the most powerful guy in the House, except for Mike Johnson, who has now joined the cabal and is trying to block. And the other guy who's trying to block it is McConnell. Mitch McConnell, the minority leader in the Senate. So they're going to try to block it. And this is in Congress. This is in a sort of a negotiation now between the House and the Senate as to what goes into this bill. And if it gets through, it'll be signed by the president on December the 21st or 22nd. It will become a law and the world will change. This is the biggest move, the biggest event that's ever happened. And Mike, who's joining me today, actually started his campaign before this thing broke loose. So he got kind of lucky where Mike Turner is becoming one of the most well-known people in the United States. So welcome, Mike, and thank you for joining me and talking about this. And thank you mostly for taking on the very, very powerful guy in the U.S. House of Representatives, who is basically, as Danny Sheehan says, working to continue full spectrum dominance, build new weapons to destabilize the world and keep 40% of the natural resources for the American corporations that are servicing 5% of the world's population. So it's a big job. So let's get going and tell me a little bit about your campaign, when you started it and why you started, and then we'll get into the UAP issue.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. About 5% of the world's population and 40% of the resources. That's one of the biggest crimes why I'm running for office is the allocation of wealth and resources to the military-industrial complex away from the working class people of this country. We're getting ripped off. And that type of, I grew up, when 9/11 happened, I was 16 years old. It was a pivotal moment in my life. And our foreign policy these last 20 years has been out of control. And so the death, the destruction, and the American lives that have been lost due to lack of investment. Where is all the money going? It's not going to us. But anyway, I'm a food truck owner here in Dayton, Ohio. I'm a normal, everyday blue collar guy, and basically just general concerned citizen that is sick and tired. I'm a little angry, actually a lot angry. And I'm just deciding to throw in my hat, throw in my lot, and just give this a try to drive the narratives and help change things. Because Mike Turner has been running roughshod over the competition here for Congress for 20 years. And we need some change of candidates. The Democrats are getting destroyed out here. So I'm running as an independent candidate on all working class issues, small dollar donations, trying to build up a grassroots movement here against him. So that's a little bit about me and why I'm running for office.
Beautiful. Give us your campaign, where the people can get a hold of you if they want to help out, because I'm sure there'd be people all around the world and around the United States who
Please
may want
do.
to give you some. So tell people
Yes,
where they can get a hold of you.
yes, please do. HarbaughForCongress.com, and Harbaugh for Congress is TikTok and also Instagram and Facebook. And that's HAR, B as in boy, AUGH, my last name, and then the number four for Congress.com. But yeah, please do. All donations accepted. That's what makes us run. So I'm doing all small dollar donations, $200 max donation to my campaign. I really want to stand on that because I want voters to be able to trust a little bit more put a little bit more trust in the politicians than we have right now, because the shady amounts of money and dark money that's involved in our politics, and like what I hope we'll talk about is like where Mike Turner's getting all his money from. I don't want voters to have to worry about that with my candidacy. So trying to
Yeah,
gain
so
back the trust of
go
voters.
through that. Talk a little bit about Mike Turner because you were taking him on before the UAP issue came up, and
Correct. I
you had
decided,
problems with him
yeah,
already before this other issue came up. So talk
yeah.
about
So yeah,
yeah.
I launched my campaign in July, it's already been over a year in the making. And it's just like myself, like self-teaching myself how to do this. And as a normal working class, individual, there wasn't a lot of information out there to like, teach yourself. It's kind of a little bit of a gatekeeper situation with how to run for office in this country. I'll just put that out there. There's not a lot of information out there, so I really had to dig and dig and read a lot and figure things out a lot on my own. But here I am. Yeah, I decided to take him on in July, and I've been doing a really big grassroots campaign since then, trying to be really accessible to the people. And yeah, Mike Turner before this UAP issue has just been I tell you what, he's extremely unpopular in the district, even though he's, won quite a bit in a row. The Democrats hate him, and the Republicans just kind of hold their nose and vote for him. But yeah, so anyways, I just jumped in this race. I'm in the process of getting signatures right now to get on the ballot. I will. I need you. They make you get almost 3,000 signatures to get on the ballot as an independent candidate, and so I have 3,000 right now currently, but I'm going to tack on maybe about another 1,000 or so, or 2,000 before I turn them in to get on the ballot. So yeah, that's a little bit about what I'm up to. And did you say something about specifically about Mike Turner to talk about in your
Yeah,
question?
well, his campaign contributions, because I mean that's now big.
Yes.
A lot of the UAP people are posting where he's getting his money from, and this whole idea that the military money, the from because you're at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which people
Yep.
should know that's
Yes.
his main. You got 30,000 people, and they may want to talk about capitalism and all this kind of stuff, but Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, that's all military, which to me is like I live in Canada. And people will complain about socialism, and that's like a socialist mecca. I mean, they got free dental. We don't even have free dental here. You got almost free education. So you have Wright-Patterson, which is his district, the military, and that's you can clarify. The money is coming basically from military contractors, right?
Yes, primarily, and then also too, off of that third, it's the largest single on-site employer in the state of Ohio. So it's not only the on-site people, but then all the second and third and fourth businesses that also profit and result. That profit from that economic boom here in the area. So it affects a lot of people, 1 to 200,000 people, all the restaurants, everything around here. But yeah, Mike Turner. What you described was a little bit of government socialism in a way. Like for the military has good health care. The
Yeah,
military
exactly. Yeah.
has good education for their kids. And then, Mike Turner will even run, and he recently got some $1 million facilities just recently built on the base. So the people on the base can have a nice child care center to get their kids watched,
Wow.
watch for them. And so these are all things that the American people want, that people here in Dayton, Ohio need, the working class desperately need. Not, I'm very happy to have that for the military, but there's a lot more people not in the military that really need that stuff too. So the working class people here, it's just unfair, the distribution of resources. But yeah, Mike Turner has been, his campaign contributions aren't good. It shows you exactly where he stands, I think. A few things, if you don't mind. In 2008 and 2010, he was listed as one of the most corrupt members of Congress by the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Um, it came out that there was a marketing firm that his current wife at the time got an unfair no bid contract from this lobbyist group from Dayton for $300,000 to come up with a simple little slogan for their lobbyist group, and they got paid $300K to come up with a slogan called "Get Midwest." And so you know, a lot of money flowing. His wife's company, and she owned this marketing company too. His campaign also gave her over $50,000 over the course of a few years, you know, too, for various jobs and stuff. So it's just kind of like this collusion between, you know, the people in power and also their loved ones. Furthermore, that was his first wife. His second wife, he got married in roughly around 2016. He again came up on the watchdogs list as one of the most corrupt people because he married an energy lobbyist.
Oh,
Okay. And he was then coincidentally introduced legislation on natural gas that would benefit his new wife's company. And you know, this is like the problem in Washington is because literally the people in Congress are screwing the lobbyists, and then in turn the lobbyists and the people in Congress screw the American working class. And I think this just kind of exposes one of the biggest fears of our voters and being able to trust our elected leaders. And it's just like it lays bare some of the problems with in regards to lobbying and the collusion of money. And also, I got a lot more to go into about some more of the wasteful money on the F-35 program and his
yeah.
connections
Talk
with
about the
Lockheed Martin.
F-35 because, like, the people that'll be listening to this are they know about that issue. So go through some of
Okay,
that.
cool. Yeah. So the F-35, Mike Turner has been advocating for this program for forever. It's no surprise that in 2020, his largest single campaign contribution was $64,000 in total from Lockheed Martin. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Turner is in a special caucus in Congress. It's a little caucus made up of 5 people, and it's called the Joint Strike Fighter Caucus. And there's 5 people in it. All 5 of those members in that caucus get the max amount from the super PACs from Lockheed Martin. Okay, so Lockheed Martin. And they obviously advocate for more F-35s. And so here's the issue with people, you know, and as maybe some of your audience knows with the F-35, the Citizens Against Government Waste watchdog group in 2019 named Mike Turner Porker of the Month for supporting the biggest waste of money, which is the F-35 program. At this time in 2019, the program had been in development for 17 years. It was 7 years behind schedule, and not one, but $200 billion over budget. And yet Mike Turner was still pedal to the metal, and still is to this day in 2023, pedal to the metal on getting F-35, selling them to Israel, selling them to maybe Saudi Arabia, selling them to our allies, maybe even trying to get them to Ukraine. And so it shows you the rot in this system when such a failed, broken system is going on. And you still have members of Congress who are taking the max amount of money from them and doing their bidding. This is also at the same time, in 2018, the House Armed Services Committee made a report. And in that report, they said the F-35 does not have the range to strike targets, and the programs may already be out of date. And this is in a House Armed Services Committee report in 2018, and yet still Mike Turner pedal to the metal, taking all the contributions from Raytheon. But it's not just Raytheon or Lockheed Martin. It's Raytheon, it's Boeing, it's General Dynamics. He's literally just recently, I think of this last month, went and was on a forum and chairing it of like the aerospace industry and the defense contractors. So this guy is literally in lockstep. When the F-35 program was started, the estimated cost of it was about $38 million per F-35. By the time one of these reports, I think it was like in 2018. By 2018, the price of an F-35 had gone up to over $150 million per jet. And these were jets that had trouble operating in the rain. These are jets that have malfunction issues and maintenance issues. And so it's like, this is the kind of guy that, Mike Turner is. And so he's taken all the money, he's doing the bidding. And it goes to the greater problem, what we touched on earlier, which is, and it's why I'm running my campaign, is because the wealth and the resources of this country is being stolen from the working class. And the Department of the Defense and the corrupt contractor system and the no audits, the Pentagon can't pass an audit. It's failed the last 5, and they can only account for 39% of their assets. So there's literal fraud and theft that is going on right now, trillions in unaccounted money. And we all know about the UAP programs, and black money that not being on the books and being sent to programs and stuff like that. So we're being stolen from, and that's a part of my campaign is to allocate for getting those resources back to working class people. So I'm trying to draw a stark contrast between Mike Turner and the representation they're currently getting in my campaign.
Beautiful. One thing I'd add on the F-35, because Canada's buying them as well.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry. I
I
feel
look it
sorry
up,
for
and
you.
you see how the system works in terms of the contractors. That I always point out when I lecture that the F-35 is made in 48 different states in 10 different countries, and that's the whole
Wow.
thing. Is because when you've got
Wow.
overruns,
I'm gonna write that down.
that who's going to vote against it. And that's what, if you are familiar with the famous speech that Eisenhower made, he wanted to give for 2 months before he left office, was the final speech. And I was at the Eisenhower Library looking at it, and the actual wording before they changed it was "Beware the military-industrial congressional complex."
Ah, I've heard that.
They pulled congressional out of the speech not to offend Congress, but he warned about this. When everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar and everybody's got jobs, it's pretty hard to vote against a massive
Yes.
overrun.
I think I read with some of this in some of my research on this is that the F-35 in some of these articles talks about enjoys widespread congressional approval because it provides what did you say, like 48 states, 10
48
countries or
states, yeah, and 10
they
countries.
said roughly 190,000 employees, roughly
Yeah.
190,000. I'm pretty. That was a massive number of people and the parts and everything that's associated with this program. So, look, jobs are good, but like, could our government
Yeah.
put that type of investment in a
Yeah.
different types of jobs program?
Especially if it doesn't work. I mean, if the thing doesn't fly in the
Especially if it
rain or
doesn't work,
something.
we could plant avocado trees. Or I'm just saying anything, like any
Yeah.
sort of investment in government jobs program, like anything to put money in the pockets of American people and give them jobs is a good thing. But when
Yeah.
it's going to a corrupt system that can't pass any benchmarks of productivity and standards, and then where's the money going? It's unaccounted for at the Pentagon, and it's going into offshore bank accounts of the military industrial complex, and we don't that money's not being reinvested in Main Street, and so it's going to Wall Street. So
Well, good for you for
that's
stepping out, because most people just say, well, what can I do about it? And just sort of look the other way and hope it's going to go
I
away.
can't
And
I
yeah,
can't.
that's the thing. I mean,
This
you
has been a
stood up
long time
and
coming.
the sort of the ultimate sacrifice that you're going to go in there and do it. So you're mentioning Lockheed, and of course the UFO community or the UAP community knows this quite well, that Dayton Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where the rumored Roswell crash was taken in 1947. So we all know about that, and we also know about the idea that Lockheed Skunkworks is the place where they are back engineering the UFO technology and claiming it doesn't exist. And what they're doing now for people that are just getting into this issue is this whole idea that Mike Turner, who you're running against, is actually head of the Intelligence Committee, and his position is that the Intelligence Committee is not allowed to be briefed on this. So, like, what kind of crazy position is that? That you just let them do what they want, and nobody has the security clearances. And he's being outed by a bunch of people. The pressure's on now, and we'll see where this thing goes. But he has this very direct connection to Lockheed, which has always been known as the place that does the UFO technology. So maybe talk a little bit about
Yes.
how you picked up on the UAP issue, and have you had a sighting? I mean, have you followed this over the years? Because
Yeah.
those of us who are in it like in our over our heads. We're in the rabbit hole. We do it all the time
Yes.
and stuff. But for you, how did you get the UAP issue in terms of, because when I met you, when I found you on somebody posted on my site your Reddit post, and then I saw you were going to have a demonstration. So maybe talk a bit
Yes.
about that. And I went, wow, somebody's actually going to take this guy on and have a demonstration.
Yes.
And the people on the
Yes.
street, people will say, well, I really don't care. But the UFO issue, you're going to get a lot of young people who are going to go, I didn't know that. And
Yes.
they're
So
going to really, it just raises consciousness in terms of
it
what's actually
speaks
going on.
it speaks to a lot of issues right there. With the corruption in Lockheed and these are so it's also a tale of wealth distribution in society too. It's the wealthy defense contractor companies that stand to benefit financially from, if they are in possession of UFO craft and UFO technology that they are trying to reverse engineer. They stand to benefit financially through bringing that technology to mankind, or also just by having that power and that control. So if Mike Turner is doing their bidding to protect, it's just the same old story that we've always seen, where the rich want to hold on to their strategic advantage. So it's a lot of stuff here. It breaks on the class war issue too. It's not, there's a lot of factors going on here. But have I ever had? No, I've never had a visual myself. I had what I thought was a UFO experience for about 1 second of my brain at one time, but what that was actually a meteor that came down on me and my friend at 3 in the morning, and the whole sky lit up like the sun. It was wild. So I thought a UFO was coming down on top of me, but there was a trailer in the sky and it was just a meteor, I'm pretty sure. So, but no, I've always believed, is on my truth-seeking journey, and politics, morality, spirituality, you name it, is that UFOs definitely, all of these eyewitnesses accounts, not everyone's lying. So I've always known that the truth is out there, that there is that they're lying. And so what we saw with all the developments this last year, in the last couple of years, where it's like all of a sudden for the first time, the United States government is coming out and saying, okay, none of these people weren't lying. We actually, UFOs, unidentified flying objects or aerial phenomenon, are a real thing. And we are disclosing it now and saying, we as a legitimate trusted source are, on the record now saying that these are real and that our pilots have seen. And so it's coming into the news. And then we saw the congressional hearing this summer where, whistleblowers coming forward. And so my attention has been back on it here in this last year or two, like, wow, this is really coming out, the truth, it's unraveling and stuff. So I've taken a lot greater interest in it this last year, but it's the same old story. The government covering up the truth, and it hurts working class people. They may have killed Kennedy. They've got information on all the wars that they fought that they've never released. There's so much problem with secrecy and overclassification of stuff in our government. We have a huge security apparatus, deep state, secret entity governments where everything's classified and no one. And so we have a big problem with that, and it's hurting working class people. So this is just another example of that. The government getting in the way, stonewalling, when it's like, we just want the information. Let us have the information so us, the voters, can make the decision. And so that's a little bit about, my history with this issue and like my recent activism on it. And so with all this stuff going on, and especially with Grush's interview on Joe Rogan recently, really bringing the heat back up with Mike Turner and the outrage. And it's like, gosh, there's literally just a couple of people, the momentum of this issue. And it's like a couple of people, they're just going to line item edit something out of a bill when it's just, so it's just another example of him doing the bidding of his donors, him doing the bidding of whoever, and not for working class people. All working class people, I think, want disclosure, whether or not you believe or not. Or I firmly believe if we could go to the voting booth and decide, hey, would you want the government to come clean on just whatever they know, whatever that may be? Check mark yes or no. Overwhelmingly, that election would be a landslide. So this is an issue of our politicians not lining up with the people. And so, Mike Turner. So anyway, so I wanted to get on Reddit because that's the biggest supporter group. And I wanted to do something. I thought there's 2 million people on this UFO Reddit forum. I'm like, what, if we could really shake some things up, put a little pressure, record some videos, release it back into the UFO community, just show that these politicians that we are online, but we're also going to show up in person and can demonstrate. I think it's just another spoke in the wheel of the pressure campaign, because everyone's been calling their office and faxing and emailing, and that's a spoke in the wheel too. I think another in-person demonstration is another spoke in the wheel. And I think we got to be doing everything at this time. So yeah, that's a little bit about, the issue and where I'm at right now.
Okay. So if you got that date for this thing, I guess we'll have to, yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
talk more into that. And it's in front of his office, right? His office is in Dayton?
In front of his office in downtown Dayton. So on a busy street. And I scheduled it for kind of soon because I think there's a lot of urgency. As we all know, Congress goes on break, I believe December 15th this year. I saw 15th and 16th for the House and the Senate, and they're going to get this voted on and approved, the final bill, at least by then. So there's urgency right now. So I thought of December 8th, this coming Friday, December 8th, from 3 to 6 p.m. out front of his office. And that's 120 West 3rd Street, Dayton, Ohio. And then also, that's on a Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. because I want to catch the rush hour traffic. But then I thought if other people can't make it, I want them to be able to still participate. So I did it for the next day also on Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. If you can't make it on Friday because of work, you can come on Saturday and we can, protest. And so I'm making a big banner today. I'm going to get that made up and print it off. And so it's going to have a nice big banner of like 10 feet long, maybe. And it's going to be nice and printed out. And it's going to say like Mike Turner, blocking, the truth from the American people or something, like let's vote him out. Or it's going to say something like that, like in regards to get attention of the people that are driving by. And yeah, I think it's important. I think it's
So
important.
if you get some sort of poster that I can put up, and maybe we can get some people to hopefully people will share it and move it around, because
That's,
you see some of these
yeah.
postings, they're getting a lot of shares. And
You know what? I need to
have,
do that. Yeah, I could get some help with that. My wife's a graphic designer too, so that would
yeah,
be helpful to have people to share online. I was a little let down with the Reddit. I got over 1,000 upvotes for my first post about, hey, we should do a protest, and then a day or two later, I posted the follow up, like, okay, here's the date and time of the protest, and the moderators censored it for about 6 or 7 hours. I don't know why, and I was messaging them, they didn't hit me back. And then it released around 9 p.m. that night, and I think that affected a lot of the upvotes and people seeing it. And I think it got buried, and so now it's only at 150 upvotes. It only has 150, which is significantly less than the first post did. And I thought it was a very popular topic, and so yeah. So I'm gonna repost again here. I'm gonna make the banner and the logo tonight, and then so I'll be able to repost. But yes, I'll definitely contact you with a little logo or flyer or something to
yeah. And
that
I
would be
encourage
helpful.
everybody that's watching on Facebook and Twitter, and people that know me or whatever, to do what they can and share the word, because this is something you can do. And this is a big sort of you going out on a limb to do this, to take on this issue and help us out. And it's as well as posting and twittering and
Mm-hmm.
tagging people and stuff like that. This will help. So I'll do whatever I can, and I'll just keep reposting it, and let's see what we can do. And even down the road, you can do it again. I mean, if they kill this bill, I mean, he's going to become even more popular, and we can do it again. Or people can do other interviews with you, and even if you get another 10 people in Dayton that pick it up, and
Oh,
it just raises consciousness. It's not like we're going
it
to
does.
win or
It
that you're going to
does.
beat them or anything like that. It's just that,
Spoke in the wheel.
yeah,
We
it's
got to
almost
do everything.
like Max Planck talked about, science and ufology. I always say ufology is the same as science, advances one funeral at a time. It's not like we're going to win it tomorrow or whatever, but this issue, I've been fighting it for 48 years, and I never thought this would happen. And now suddenly in the last couple of weeks, it's like, everybody's folding the tents, and everybody's, sort of, found religion on this issue, and everybody's jumping on board. So maybe we can get it going,
Mm-hmm.
and fantastic. So let's see. Again, give us the contact so people can contact you. And
Yep. HarbaughForCongress.com and Harbaugh for Congress. That's my TikTok, Instagram. You can also email me like on my website. So that's Harbaugh, Harbaugh, the number 4, Congress.com. Go there. Small dollar donations, always appreciated, but at the same time, just make sure you look at my website and see if you want to back what I'm doing. I'm not leading on the UAP issue as far as strategic wise, just full disclosure. But it is and always has been on my website. It's in my when I talk about foreign policy or the defense section, it's in there. It's a line. It says Congress needs to come clean. UAP disclosure. Be honest with the American people. Like, so I've always been in support of this issue, but I'm not leading on it. I don't want
yeah, yeah,
people to, it's not as popular. Everyone's worried about putting food on their table, and healthcare and stuff like that,
yeah.
and so
But
other
most
issues.
people,
So
like in the UFO community, none of us knew that he had this issue. I mean, that he had
mhm.
this UFO blocking this thing, and it went from one day him being totally unknown to everybody. Everybody in the UFO community knows who this guy is now. It's like,
Yes,
and he's seen as the Illuminati leader of this whole 4-member group that's trying to block it.
yes,
And they're all
yes,
taking the donations. They're all sort
yes,
of in the bag with the military contractors, and I guess they think they're saving the world or whatever. But it comes down to consciousness that if we want a positive consciousness, we got to put it in there and do our part. So I really
yes.
appreciate your getting involved. And I guess you're watching the post now quite a bit, as to, because now News Nation is picking up and they're doing a lot of stuff, and his name is almost every day on there. And
Yes,
Danny
he.
Sheehan's after him. I'll maybe get Danny Sheehan to try to contact you because he's very powerful. He's with the Pentagon Papers and
Okay.
exposed the whole thing with the atomic nuclear power. Basically, shut it down in the United States, and very big on civil rights and stuff like that. And he's one of the guys that helped draft the Schumer Amendment. And
Okay.
I'm sure he would give you some support. So
No, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah,
we'll do it
I'm
with him.
this my campaign is all grassroots, and I'm trying to build this from the ground up. I mean, so this I'm in this for the long haul too. This campaign is going to be around for a few years, 2026, 2028. I'm gonna give this the real shot. I mean, I think I can win here in 2024, and I'm gonna go crazy, balls to the wall. But in all reality, I'm an independent that I'm building. I'm
Yeah.
starting slowly. I'm starting from the ground up, grassroots organization. I've already done quite a bit too. So I'd look forward to meeting anybody that wants to join my network of people and organization to take on Mike Turner, because he's had a lock on this area for too long, and he's a lot weaker, I think, than everyone thinks. He's vulnerable. He's very vulnerable. His Republican base isn't that strongly behind him. The Democrats around here are all up in arms against him, and so he's vulnerable. He's vulnerable, and my independent campaign is gonna we're gonna test that. We're going to see where the chips fall, on election day. But I'm doing a lot of grassroots activism and getting out there. I've already talked to at least over 5,000 voters. At least I have 3,000. I probably 5 to 10,000 voters already. I've already been crazy active in my community.
Wow.
So yeah, the word is out. I'm trying to get the word out there. Doing a lot of political activism, and so if people check me out online, you'll see a lot of that. I've been to Washington D.C. a few times for some anti-war demonstrations. I'm all over the place doing a lot of activism in the community. So at the very least, you can say I'm a hard worker and, trying to put my money where my mouth is, which is what
Yeah.
politicians
Yeah.
seem to have a problem doing. They want to have it both ways and hide behind desks and stuff like that. And that's not my style.
Beautiful. Well, you have my respect. Have the Democrats picked up on this issue? Do you know, in terms of this UAP
Around,
issue with
around,
Turner?
around where I live,
Well, I mean, in terms of, is there someone running against him now? Is there a candidate, or have they
there's
mentioned the
a,
issue? Because you figure they would pick up on the issue as well in terms of,
that's kind of why I'm running as an independent candidate around here, because the Democratic candidates are so weak.
yeah,
No, they're not. The Democratic Party around here doesn't even have any money. They're not doing any fundraising. They didn't even endorse their candidate that won last time that went up against Mike Turner. He wasn't even endorsed by the party. So like there's a lot of infighting and they're not giving him
yeah,
money.
wow,
So that guy will be running again. And then there's another woman who she ran as a state rep, a little bit outside of the district, but she's running in our district for Congress, so she's in the race too. But anyway, the Democrats are having a primary. But I'm not very inspired by any of their candidates in the race. None of
yeah,
them. They're all
yeah,
seem like status quo.
yeah,
Status quo. But no, they haven't picked up on it. No.
yeah.
They don't talk
Well,
about it.
it's just taking off now, where his name becomes more, and it's nothing good associated with his name. It's this, the money from the military contractors and trying to block the UAP thing and all this kind of stuff. And he's seen as the main guy, like he's the running the most powerful committee in the House, and so people say, well, you can't win. And I basically say, well, he could be in jail by the time election time comes. It's going downhill pretty fast for him. So,
Wow,
so
that would be quite a turn of events.
yeah,
Tell
because
you what.
that's the thing. I mean, he was totally unknown, and now he's what people know about him is not good. He's getting this reputation, which is just building as the days go on. So, thank you,
Yeah.
Michael,
Yeah, no
and
problem.
maybe
No
we could do
problem.
another one after
Please
your
do.
demonstration, or if this
Yep.
bill gets signed, I'd like to have you on again, and
Yes.
we'll push it, and I'll see if I can get you some more interviews. I'm sure people will
Please
see the
do.
interviews. There's a lot of podcasts. People do podcasts. I'm sure you'll probably get some other offers, and hopefully some of the independent candidates. I leaned out to a couple of people who have run independents in different states, and hopefully they'll reach out to you and maybe give you
Yeah.
advice with what they learned about running and stuff like that.
Please
And
do. Please do.
yeah,
Anybody that would like to reach out with any advice or anything, I am learning a lot in this. I'm wearing a lot of different hats in this campaign, but I work my ass off, every day on this. But yeah, please do reach out, emails, any sort of advice. Independent candidates, that would be good. That would be good. So
beautiful. You're my hero, man. Keep going,
thank
and
you.
we'll talk to you
Thank
again
you.
soon.
Okay,
Beautiful.
cool. Thank you,
Talk to
Grant.
you. You
Have a
bet.
good one.
All right, Mike.
Uh-huh.